Hi there, this is Jim Becker with Catholic Charities Online Training System, and this is the first of many training sessions that was going to go over the Google Mail system. As it is with anyone entering a new environment, it is important to understand where things are located and what they are called. This first section will provide you with a quick tour of the key elements found in Google Mail. I like to call this the Gmail terminology and location tour. Let's start with the application links. As you'll see up here at the top, this black bar, you have the U plus, search, images, mail, drive, calendar, sites, groups, contacts, and more. Within this section here, these are your application links. Clicking the links redirects you to other Google applications. They're available for you to use, and these are the ones that are used throughout all of Catholic Charities. If we click over here, we have the CC training at ccsbriv.org email address. If you click on that, or on your case, it would be your email address when you click on this, what's going to come up here on the side is your Google Apps link. This is where you can check your account settings, you can change your privacy settings, you could actually go out there and join Google Plus if you elect to do so. This is also where you can add an account, so you can actually sign into your personal account as well as your Catholic Charities Gmail account. There are some restrictions that come with that. We'll talk about that in a later video. And you can also sign out. Let's go ahead and close this. The next thing that we're going to look at is the settings gear, this big gear on the upper right hand corner. Gmail settings allow you to display the density, how many emails are showing up on the screen. You can also get into the core of all the settings throughout all your Gmail settings right here. And then you can also look on themes. You'll be referred to many times as we go through different training videos to come to this settings tab, which looks like this. And as you can see within here, we can change several things between just the general settings, the labels, your inbox, accounts, filters, etc. So this we will come back to at a later date in another video. This is our search box. Within here, just like in the regular Google, is you could type search, and in this case, if I look for Jim, it's going to go and it's going to give me some options. I have a label Jim, I have Jim Becker, I have JB2 Photo, I have Jim Becker at ccsbriv.org, that's the Catholic Charities email. So Jim shows up in a variety of different things. If I just leave it at Jim and just search, as you can see when I click on search, everything that is related to Jim suddenly will come up. If I want to go and create a filter, I can go click on this little down arrow. It says show search options, and within here I have an array of things I can create filters, as well as one of the ways to create labels. Over here on the left hand side, you see where it says mail, but we're currently in the email processing, but we also have a contact management system in here. So if you click on contacts, we'll see that all of our contact information, that's whatever emails we get that come in, will automatically be put into this. Anytime you send an email to someone, if their address is not in the system, it will automatically be added. Currently, I have in the system all the Catholic Charity staff, as well as some extra ones from individuals who were not a part of that. You also have a task function. These become very powerful when you look at how they're all pulled together. The combination of the ability to pull your Gmail, your contacts, and your tasks all together in one system is actually pretty profound. So here within the mail is the first thing I'm going to do is go over some inbox styles. So if I hover over the inbox, there you get this little triangle here. I click on it. I have a variety of different inbox styles. I could choose classic, which is just the way many people are used to seeing their email. This is the default for when you sign into your Gmail account. But I'd recommend you change that. And the reason I would recommend that is go to a priority inbox. What this does is this puts your important, those would be the ones that are marked with this little important tag, as well as anything that was starred. So if you decide that something is important, that you've decided was important, you've started it, you can go ahead and it'll be in this category. So that way these are the ones that come up front. And then if it's anything else that doesn't meet those two criteria, it comes down here. It still will show up the most recent ones first and then go down chronologically. As you'll notice, when I select an email, this top bar here, the activity bar, that's what this is called, changes. And so what it does is it allows me to go and I could archive this email. I could report it as spam. If something has made it through our firewall and made it through Google's firewall and is still something that you're not wanting to receive and you've not requested it, you can always report it as spam, and then that'll be added to the spam category in our servers as well as for Google. You could delete the message. When you delete a message in Google, it actually just goes to the trash can. It's not permanently gone, at least not yet. It takes 30 days for it to cycle all the way out of your system. If you don't go in and empty out your trash can, within 30 days, Google will automatically do that for you. If you don't delete the message, you can archive it and move it over to a folder, in which case that email then will still remain in the system permanently. You have the move to category. This is really important when we try to move. I want to move this email over to a various different label, but I definitely don't want it to be here in my inbox anymore. I could move this over very quickly, so I could move this over to training items. So that way when I come over here and I look at training related items, as you'll see I have that email showing up right here. And the next box here is the label. Labels are really important. As you notice, this email right here has both a Doug and a Jim label that's tied to it. As you can see, it's also unread. So if I click on, let's say, Doug, we'll see that that email is also showing up right here as well, and it shows us, hey, this is in our inbox. It's also tied to Jim, and it's also currently been unread. And then we have a more. So we can mark it as read, we can mark it as not important. We could add something to task. Just by adding it to task, it'll put a copy of it over into the task. And then we get reminded of when we need to complete action on that. We could add the star, which put it into the star category, which automatically, as soon as we were to refresh our screen, then we move into the starred section. We could remove it. We could filter messages like this, or if there was audio, we could mute it. Over here on the left-hand side, you can compose an email. By clicking once, it'll show up over here on the right-hand side. If I click a second time, I can have another email message. So I could actually be writing two email messages simultaneously, and I could also minimize it. I could pop it out so it could actually have that second email actually floating anywhere on the screen. So if I had two screens, I could move it over to a second screen if I wanted to. The only limitation you have is the amount of screen space that you have here on the screen. Within the email message itself, you can have your to box here. So you can start typing the person's name. So if I was to say Doug, his email, he's in my contact system. His email comes up right away. I click on his name. I can start typing the next name. This also works if you have a group. So if you've created a group, like I've created one that's called the IT Executive Staff. I type in the name of the group, and the next thing you know, it auto-populates everybody that's in that group into the email. I could also do this for carbon copies as well as for blind copies. Here's my subject line. You do want to be in the practice of putting a subject line in all your emails, and then the body of your email. For now, we're going to go ahead and just close this out. Labels is the next best thing that Google's come up with, and they felt it was very important for us to be able to have the ability to add labels. And the great thing about labels is they're like folders, but they're not. Multiple labels can be applied to single emails as discussed previously. But the other part about labels is they become very powerful when it comes to sorting or filtering or searching through and trying to find or manage emails that, man, I know I had an email, I'm searching for it. By having a label tied to it, it even helps accelerate that process a little bit more. The great thing about labels, though, is that we can click and drag it over, or we can click on here, get to the hand, and I could drag this over into that particular area. So when I drag it over, that's been archived. When I click on the label and assign it, so I say here's a training related thing, is I can just quite literally just click and drag the label over to the email, and the label automatically gets applied. There are many ways to add labels, as mentioned previously. The first being, and the quickest, is obviously over here on the left-hand side. You can either manage the labels or create a new one. You do have it up here at the top of the screen. You can do the move to, so you can create a new one or new and manage labels here, as well as right next to it, and actually very specifically work on additional labels as well. You also have the option up here at the top in the show search options, and then you obviously can go into the settings tab and get it there as well. Last but not least, we have the chat function. Over here on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see that we have our chat room. This was where we could do instant messaging. We could also do video chat. We can do a hangout. There's many things that we can do here. This obviously is more of an orientation, very quick, but it is on the right hand side of the screen. One of the key things you want to do is see this little icon. You can either say, hey, I'm available, or I'm busy, or I'm invisible. You could create a custom message. You could sign in, sign out, and you can change your settings within here within the chat list. Right now we're doing a recording, so I don't want anybody interrupting, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it as busy. That's it for our orientation. I hope this has been informative for you, and if you have any questions, we certainly look forward to talking with you in the forums, as well as we have several other videos coming down the pipeline here that you can go in that specifically address specific areas within the Gmail system itself. Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to talking to you soon.